Hello, everyone. Today I will tell you about the film Shattered. Enjoy watching. Before watching, please don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment. I'm trying to develop this channel, and your support is the only thing I have. Young millionaire Chris Decker, who made money on IT technologies, lives in his house in the mountains. Now he is in the process of divorce. Communicating via video link with his wife Jamie, Chris says that he delayed the moment of signing the documents as much as possible because he could not believe that everything was over between them. Jamie decided to leave her husband because work has always been more important to him than family. One evening, Decker meets a charming girl, Skye. She asks the young man to help her choose wine. At the exit from the store, Skylar says that the taxi canceled the order, and Chris kindly offers to give the girl a ride home. She tells about her friend Lisa. She rents an apartment with her. Not long before, they had a fight, and Skye expected that Lisa was already asleep. In order not to sort things out with her, Chris offers to go to his place and spend some time, after which he will bring her home. Skye is very surprised by such a luxurious house, and over a glass of wine, Chris talks about himself. Some time ago, Google offered him a lucrative deal, and he sold him his own development of a home security application. He himself is a sociophobe, obsessed with security. Skylar worked as a model in Los Angeles, but she hated being just a body in clothes and came here for work to find something more interesting. However, she found nothing, and that is why she now works as a waitress in a bar. After talking, Skye asks to take her home, and Chris offers her an alternative, to stay with him, to which the girl happily agrees, not hiding her fantasies, after which the couple makes love. Skylar returns home, where she argues with her friend Lisa. After listening to the accusation from her friend that she is hanging around God knows where, Skye locks herself in her room from her. Meanwhile, Chris decides to go to the bar where the girl he spent a wonderful night with works, to find out why she left without saying anything. At the bar, Skye admits that she actually hoped that he would come, and is very happy to see him again. Soon she tells him about herself, that she never had a real family. She was adopted at the age of 6, so many times that she can't remember them all. Chris likes that the girl is open with him, and he tells her that she is wonderful. In the parking lot, they come across a robber who decided to break into a car. Chris says that he doesn't need any problems and asks the robber to just leave. Skye acts more courageously. She throws a bottle at him and tells him to get lost. As a result, the robber breaks Chris's knee and then runs away. Returning home from the hospital, Chris says that he hired a nurse, since with such a cast it will be problematic even to cook for himself. Skye says that she will be better than any nurse, and Chris will be able to appreciate her main skill, to cook an omelet. Among other things, she has interesting fantasies. Ronald, the owner of the motel where Skylar and Lisa rent an apartment. He is unhappy that the girls are late with the rent once again, and warns that he will evict them if he does not receive payment within a few days. It turns out that Lisa is not just Skylar's friend, but her girlfriend. Having learned that Skye has decided to move out from her to Chris, Lisa asks her not to do this, and says that she will simply die without her. Despite persuasion, Skye moves in with Chris. Together they have a great time, drink expensive wine, and talk under the night sky, lying in the jacuzzi. After a while, Chris tells Skylar that he has fallen in love with her. The girl reciprocates and says that this scares her. Ronald finds Lisa dead in the bathtub with signs of suicide. The police officers who arrived at the scene ask if there is any reason to believe that this is not suicide. Ronald says that the girl was desperate and her roommate left her, so everything is obvious. However, the detective says that according to the databases, there is no person named Skye or Skylar Webb. Decker talks to his wife via video call and tells Jamie to come on Friday. He will sign all the documents and at the same time see his daughter. He also says that he hired a private nurse, to which Jamie says that it is very strange for him to bring a stranger into the house, since Chris is obsessed with his own safety. After this conversation, he decides to get into Skye's purse, but finds nothing except a joint photo with her friend Lisa. Skylar notices Chris going through her things, but she doesn't blame him and says it's okay. She understands that he wants to get to know her better. Then they make love again. The next morning, Chris wakes up alone and can't find his phone. He learns from the news that Skye's friend has died and the police can't figure out if it was a murder or a suicide. At that moment, Skye arrives and says she went to get chicken. Decky tells her what she saw on the news and says that she should go to the police, to which Skye replies that it would be very stupid for her to do so, because she was the one who killed her. With complete indifference and cold-bloodedness, Skylar says that Lisa was a great lover, but very jealous and too curious. but she had an apartment, the perfect place to watch Decker for the last 2 months. She knows absolutely everything about him, that he doesn't have visitors, that the gardener won't be here for another 6 days, the exact time he sleeps, eats, and everything else. Chris understands that their entire acquaintance was a calculated scam. Enraged by what he heard, Decker tells her to get out of his house. Then he tries to leave himself. But the phone that is responsible for the entire security system, and which he allegedly lost, is with Skye. Meanwhile, Ronald, while cleaning the apartment, finds a telescope and begins to spy on naked girls from rich mansions located in the mountains, while Skylar pulls out Chris's personal information to deprive him of all finances and appropriate all the wealth for herself. A little later, Ronald notices that very house and sees Skylar there. Decker tries to attack the girl, but as a result, nothing comes of it. Skye says that in this situation it is better for him to cooperate. Otherwise, his daughter will have a hard time. The girl decided to deprive Decker of everything, including selling paintings and even furniture. An accomplice arrives at the house who will deal with the sale. He turns out to be the same robber who injured Chris's leg. Meanwhile, Ronald waits for Skye to leave and sneaks into the house. He is in no hurry to let the prisoner go. Chris explains that Skye is watching the house with her phone and she already knows that he is inside. He asks to call the police, but Ronald does not have a phone. Obsessed with profit, Ronald asks for $200,000. But having learned that Decker does not keep cash at home, he decides to take the Picasso painting, which, according to the most conservative estimates, is worth $67 million. By this time, Skye returns home, and leaving unnecessary witnesses is clearly not in her plans. While she gets rid of Ronald with a sword, Chris manages to escape. All the cars are locked, and Decker leaves on a snowmobile. Having run into a rock, Chris is thrown onto the road where a man picks him up and allows him to call the police. However, a minute later he realizes that he is not talking to the police but to Skylar, and the man who picked him up turns out to be another accomplice. At the house, the accomplice introduces himself, and it turns out that he is Skylar's stepfather. He adopted her when she was 14 years old, and developed in her what she did best: seduce young and rich guys like Chris, and take everything they have. Then he begins to read him a moral lesson about the rich and the poor, posing as Robin Hood, after which he goes to have sex with Skye, which Chris himself witnesses. Decker tells Skye that she did not need to take it all. He would have given it all to her anyway. Everything he has would have been common. After all, he loved her. To which the girl replies that this is a nice dream, but nothing more. Chris says that she took everything from him. Why doesn't she just leave with her accomplice? To which Skye replies that she took everything from him except the securities. $14 million in bonds in a cell at the main American bank. Chris says that they will not be able to access the cell without his presence, since it is necessary to pass a biometric check using a fingerprint. Without thinking twice, they make the only right decision under such circumstances. Chris's wife and daughter come to visit. Jamie notices that something is wrong in the house and calls his daughter to him. Jamie asks to let his daughter go and explain what is going on here. As a result, the robbers lock everyone in the dressing room and they themselves go to the bank with Chris's finger. While they're trying to access the cell, Chris asks his daughter to get through the ventilation and free them. After which, Decker tells his wife everything that happened and says that the attackers left for the bonds. Jamie says that there are no bonds in the box. On the advice of a lawyer, she took them a long time ago, in case she has problems with the divorce, so that she has leverage. The deceived swindlers rush home, while the girl frees her parents. Skye takes a gun to get rid of Chris because they no longer need him, and they need to find a wife. Having hidden his wife with their daughter, Chris attacks his accomplice and seriously wounds him. At this moment, Skye appears and he asks to shoot Chris. Suddenly, Skylar shoots his accomplice. Taking advantage of the moment, Decker wounds Skylar, grabs the phone, and hides in the house. After some time, while walking around the house, they start a fight, but it is not so easy to deal with a fragile, as it might seem, girl. Ultimately, Willow shoots Skye with a gun, and by this time the police arrive at the house. In the last moments of the film, the girl confesses to Chris that her real name is Margaret. This is where the film ends.